In this week's astrology, we have a lot of celebration going on. I cannot believe that the year 2022 is almost over. But this week brings a lot of changes, and these are cardinal changes. This is very much a cardinal week. And in astrology, cardinal energy directs new beginnings, new changes. It's the mode that establishes new seasons, and we're entering into deep winter. And although we're entering into deep winter, this was a time of celebration because this was the lowest point that the sun will travel. And then it starts traveling back up. And from this point on, we are looking forward to warmer seasons ahead. So we still have to go through the winter season, but we know that from this point, the trajectory of the sun based on the equator is actually reaching its furthest point south and is going to travel up north to meet the equator, and that happens during spring equinox, equal equator, and then from there, goes into summer solstice. So we're entering winter solstice, but that's why we would celebrate this point, because we knew at this point the sun will be born again and the trajectory of the sun will start to rise. So the mood of the week starts with a very fixed Scorpio moon. Now, when we look at the energy of Scorpio and the archetype of the moon, this is about going deep into subjects that are shaking up our secure base, maybe even fear or insecurity of some sort, things around you digging deep into the psyche and releasing. So it's a very much psychological week. And because the cardinal energy supports us, I invite you to take it easy this week. And I know it's a little hard to do that since we are having some celebrations. If you celebrate the holidays, if you celebrate the 24th or the 25th, that's coming up. So I know a lot of people are, it's crunch time. They're shopping, they're doing a lot of things like that. And especially if you're one of those last minute shoppers, you're trying to get in all your presents before Christmas or whatever celebration, what are the holidays, whatever you celebrate. I celebrate Christmas, so I apologize if that's not something you celebrate, but whatever holiday you celebrate. So just make sure that you are taking some time to take care of yourself, take care of your mental health, and foster good habits that support your way of life so you don't feel depressed or stressed or anxious, because we still have Mars in Gemini, which is really pinching our nerves or irritating our nervous system. So yes, that's another thing that is going to be really highlighted with this Capricorn stellium, because Mars is actually forming an inconjunct aspect to all the planets in Capricorn. It's actually 6 signs away from Capricorn, so it's going to be quite irritating, and a lot of us are going to start focusing on our health. And I really think that this time around, especially if you have planets in Capricorn and planets in the mutable signs, the way that you approach these New Year resolutions are going to be done or made with a different consciousness, with a different awareness of what was working and what was not working, and what happened other times that you tried to change certain habits, and also the push that you need to change certain habits because your health is deteriorating of some sort. So you're going to be much more successful, because at this point you're not going to see these changes of like, oh, okay, I'm going on a diet so I could lose weight. It's going to be more on, I'm making these changes and I'm starting a new lifestyle because I want to live longer, because I want to be healthy. Capricorn energy, because it's ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is father time, and rules a lot of the structure in our body, rules the bones, the skeletal system in our body, rules the skin in our body, really does bring, it rules the hair in our body. It really does bring into our awareness that we are in this body and it's being loaned to us for a certain period of time, because it starts deteriorating and we grow older, we grow weaker, and this is something that we know. So this is a tougher type of transit when it comes down to looking at things from a perspective of borrowed time. But it's also very positive because we can make these changes if we really just see the benefit of making these changes, not just like for the sake of losing weight. Now, some of us can, be motivated by that. I am actually not one of them. I'm very motivated by just being healthy and seeing the physical effects of these new changes, like having more energy, feeling more positive, things like that. So, again, with the mood of the week starting with a moon in Scorpio, we're going to have some fixed mindset in regard to these changes, but really it's great for purging. We need to purge, cleanse, transform, revitalize, and really let go of things that are no longer working us, that are impeding us in having a very secure, very nurturing lifestyle, very passionate lifestyle. So the moon in Scorpio is great for that. The moon also forms the balsamic crescent at 6:40 p.m. PST on Monday, which is, I feel like it's a double energy of purging. That phase in the moon is always connecting with letting go. It's about to go dark. And then you combine it with the energy of Scorpio, which is another archetype that is concerned in researching but letting things go that it has found no longer works, and going within to find these secret things or these hidden gems, so like that you can liberate yourself and find a new form of freedom. So yeah, that same day we form a yod, and that's quite interesting because we have both of the feminine planets being the legs of the yod, and then we have them aspecting Mars. So there starts that health aspect for the week, and this is on Monday. It's actually the worst day of the week, so this is definitely a day that you just want to rest. Make sure that you're not doing too much. Make sure that you are being very mindful on how quick you're moving. Don't stub your toe or things like that. Don't drop something on, on your toe, whatever, or foot. Just be very careful because Mars is being sent a exact in conjunct aspect at the same time from Venus and the moon. Now, Venus and the moon are actually in a sextile aspect, so it's quite supportive, but it's also very irritating because Mars is the focal point of this yod. We call this the finger of God. And this aspect, when people have it natally, is very hard to master because there's always lots of work that comes with the apex planet, which is the focal point planet. It's really developing itself, and I feel it's something that develops throughout our lifetime versus like a period in your life. So because this is not necessarily a aspect that's going to last long for you. It's just going to be for the week. It starts fading by Wednesday. It gets better. You still want to make sure that you are watching the system, that you don't get inflamed, that you don't get irritated. When it comes to food, because the moon rules food in our stomach, and so does Venus, make sure that you are not eating food that is going to irritate your stomach, and you're drinking lots of water. So make sure, especially because Venus is in a Capricorn energy, and that actually slows down the bowels because it's a cold sign. So drink lots of warm teas, warm soups, just warm things in the body. You're gonna naturally want that. I actually all day just kept on drinking tea and cacao. I was drinking cacao because I just wanted to keep warm, because the limbs are gonna kind of go cold. Both of the feminine planets are in cold signs, so just really take care of your body. And then for Tuesday, we have Jupiter going back into the sign of Aries. So it no longer will be transiting Pisces. We will see Jupiter back in Pisces in another 12 years, give or take. And now Jupiter's going to finish its transit through Aries. And this is I think it's a mixed bag energy. So when I was looking at the ingression of Jupiter into Aries, I also noticed that same day, the moon goes into Sagittarius, which forms a trine to Jupiter, which is very positive. That's actually one of the most positive aspects that the moon makes every time she makes a trine or a sextile to Jupiter. However, because it is fire and we're in winter season, this is calling us to warm our bodies, warm our system. There's something about the vital system that we need to focus on. Additionally, in Vedic astrology, anytime the planets transit through water signs and then they merge into the fire sign. So this is going to be from Scorpio to Sagittarius, from Pisces to Aries. This is called Gandanta, and it's a karmic knot. And we can think about this point in the transition as water being boiled over, or a fire that is being pulled out by water and it's agitating, right? So different Gandanta points. So from Cancer to Leo, it's going to be different than from Scorpio to Sagittarius, and the Aries to the Pisces to Aries Gandanta is different, but they're all very karmic. If you have planets in those points, there's usually a lot of karma attached to that. What does that mean? You would individually have to decipher your chart, but an example, if it's the moon, it could be you have a lot of past lives with the mother archetypes or the women in your life, and you have these deep connections, but at the same time, there can be painful or hurtful things like that. And maybe they were great to you, but you hear their story and it was very, very painful, and that shaped the way they nurtured you and the way they connected with you, and it impacted the relationship. So maybe you yearned for a more loving, a more deep bond, and they couldn't bond that way with you because they also didn't have that. So you'll see some type of toughness to it, something that you have to work through. And especially this one, the Scorpio, actually both of these, the Scorpio Sagittarius one and the Pisces Aries one, are tougher than the Leo and Cancer one. So especially the Scorpio one likes to dig in very deep. It goes into a very spiritual transformation, and then it comes out with a new belief system. So we see that the moon is going through that, and at the same time we have another planet that's kind of lingering in that. So this is where I feel it's a mixed bag, because even though it's a very auspicious aspect, it's still gonna have you reflect, and you're gonna have this day that kind of pulls you in, and then at the end of the day you kind of feel like you're more inspired, but it's like, what happened? Like the day doesn't match. Like it feels like it was two different days, because you started off with this very deep focus, and then after that it kind of loosened its grip. So just be mindful of that. If you seem to feel more of the body energy, the more of the heightened energy within the body, drink a lot of water, because the fluids in the body are being agitated, and there should also be maybe an application of some warm oils to the skin, things like that. During winter, because I tend to run very cold, I usually use a lot of oil on my body, like I put castor oil or coconut oil, things like that, to just keep my skin moist, and also protect my feet and try to keep heat in. So those are some of the things that you can do, even for the week, actually for this entire season, because it's going to be a little bit more cold since we have a Capricorn stellium. And it's great for awakening. It awakens the mind. Like energetically, you're going to get a lot of information, a lot of downloads, but you can also get a rush of blood to the head, because Jupiter is going into Aries. So be careful with migraines, headaches, eye pressure, things like that. But other than that, nothing real big. And then on Wednesday, the 21st, we have finally the sun going into Capricorn at 1:48 p.m. And this is where the Cardinal alert starts, because now we have the sun, Venus, Mercury, and Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. So we have 5 planets, 4 of the traditional planets, and then 1 of the modern planets in the sign of Capricorn. We also have the ruler of Capricorn in Aquarius, which is a sign that Capricorn also rules. So it's much stronger. The Capricorn energy, it's much more dignified, which is really great, because Capricorn is a very determined sign. It's a very ambitious sign, industrious sign, hardworking. And it's not a surprise, because although we're celebrating that the sun has been born again, and it's going to make its way up so we can heat the earth again and have vegetation, it's still very cold. And we still need to go through the process of retracting and working very ethically, and then seeing the reward later. So this is a period in time where we keep working and working and working, because we know eventually we're going to be rewarded by whatever we strived to complete, to do. Our determination pays off later. And that is the cardinal earth expression. So again, think of things that you want to invite into your life, projects. Maybe you want to renovate your home, you want to change things around, or you want to start a business, or apply for a new job, or maybe start volunteering somewhere. Whatever you feel that is going to give you the drive, determination, and also the desire to achieve something, to be known for something. Start thinking of those intentions and really create some space this week to set the intention and manifest this into your life. It's a plan. It's a plan that you have to create, because Capricorn energy is very mindful and strategic in following steps. It likes to climb, and each step is a strategy, but it needs to know the big picture as well. And it's great at that. And it works step by step by step to get to the big accomplishment, right? The big picture. So, and you'll need to sit down so you can actually see like what's the trajectory. Example, you want to move to a different state. Okay, by when? So then you set that date. Okay, by next year, I see myself there. What is it that I need to do? Oh, if I want to purchase a home there, I need to start checking out the real estate market. Okay, start doing that. So have your plan. So like that, by the time the year comes, you already did most of the work and you're able to really manifest this into your life because you focused on it. You focused on working on it and inviting it into your life. So there's a lot of excess energy this day as well. And this brings a lot of support to the skeletal system. And this is because the sun makes a square to Jupiter in Aries. So it's cardinal energy, cardinal earth, making a square to cardinal fire. And earth and fire make glass. They also make crystals. So heat pressurizes coal and it could turn into a diamond, right? It's that same energy where it kind of makes something very hard. So that's why it's very supportive to the skeletal system. So I would nurture that system by making sure that you are taking your vitamin D, calcium. Again, this is not medical advice. You really need to see your doctor to see what it is that you are deficient in or you require. So like that you can have optimum health. But based on astrological rulership, these are the things that seem to be the most impacted during this time, which is the moisture in the body, the joints, the skeleton, and hair is where hair and your lips become very dry during this time. So that's why you want to provide moisture. So drink a lot of water, make sure you get some sun, and provide moisture through oils. So I think that's great. Even though it's a square, it's still very supportive and it's going to assist in building good structure, especially if just say you are vitamin deficient of some sort and you start taking the vitamin now, because Jupiter is bringing a supportive aspect. Like Jupiter, no matter what, whether there's a opposition, square, sextile, it really supports. It might be a little bit more with a square, might be more in your face, or more like someone tells you, like just say you go to the doctor and they're like, wow, you really need calcium, like you have to take it or it can turn to something worse. So the news doesn't really come very easy. It's not really nice. But at the same time, this doctor is giving you information that can prevent serious illnesses from developing at a later date. So it's still a blessing. So just be mindful of that. And that's the 21st. And then on the 22nd, Thursday, we have Venus forming a trine to Uranus. This is very supportive because Uranus is in a sign that Venus rules, but it will cause a little bit more nervousness in the body, maybe a little bit more like the neurons are going to be a little bit more tense, and also you'll probably feel some of the skeletal bones, the way that they the lubrication. That's basically what I'm trying to say, the lubrication in the body. So be mindful of that. But since you've been taking care of that since the beginning, you should be fine. Then we have the moon going into the sign of Capricorn at the end of the day. But before that happens, the moon goes void of course for 11 hours and 34 minutes. That is the longest void of course this week. So be very careful on the 22nd to work on completing things that you haven't accomplished and that you need your attention, your focus. And this is going to be as of let me see, the last aspect that the moon makes on the 22nd is at 12:15 p.m. So that's around lunchtime. And then it doesn't make any other aspect until it goes into the sign of Capricorn at 11:49 p.m. So a few minutes after that, on Friday at 12:13 a.m., the moon makes a square to Aries. So again, triggering that cardinal energy. And that is the same day that the moon makes a new moon aspect with the sun at 1 degree 33. And right before that happens, though, Chiron stations direct at 11 degrees 56 at 1:30 a.m. And this is great because Chiron in Aries has been retro. So if you had any planets around 9 to 13 degrees in the cardinal signs, you've been healing. You've been learning. You've been exploring yourself. You've been contemplating your path, your past, your present, your future, and really seeing things from different perspective, not just in the interest of healing yourself, but how you can help others heal as well. So now that it's going direct, the things that you learned during this period are going to be easier for you to implement, to share. So it's very exciting that Chiron goes direct, and then Jupiter is also going to be transiting Aries while Chiron is direct, and Jupiter is the great teacher. So I'll talk about this aspect later when Jupiter actually makes a conjunction to Chiron, but be ready for it because it looks like the momentum of the teacher, the mentee-mentor relationship is going to bring a lot of liberation and a new level of living and expressing yourself, and the knowledge that you've learned is going to be much more understood during this transition once it goes direct. And then we have that new moon in Capricorn, and this is forming that stellium. It's also bringing focus to Mars forming an inconjunct to the Capricorn planets. And this is a 6th house aspect, so it's a health aspect. So it's not just your physical health, although Capricorn is very material because it's an earth sign. Gemini is more mental, and how your mental health also impacts your physical body. So being mindful, cutting things out that are stressing you out. And Mars in Gemini is really focused on cutting relationships, especially relationships that you have with friends, maybe siblings, people too, because it's a friendly, it's the sign of communication, but it's like cutting these people out that tend to be energy vampires and maybe trigger depression or anxiety within you. And by you cutting these people out that are bringing in all these problems and all these issues all the time, then from there you'll see that your physical body starts getting better because your mental health is better. So I don't feel like this is one of the best new moons, especially around this time, to setting like those New Year resolution type of things. But there is some good qualities to this new moon. This is a chart that I have up. And the stellium being in the 3rd house is really supportive of the mind. It's kind of interesting that it's the natural house of Gemini, and we have Mars in Gemini forming an aspect to these planets, right? In Gemini, the moon is also The new moon's also very early on in the sign of Capricorn. So it's going to be highly aspected as it travels through the sign of Capricorn. It makes a conjunction to Venus, then a conjunction to Mercury, then it ends with a conjunction to Pluto. Anything that touches Pluto is quite intense. And every time we've been having a Capricorn moon, it's been intense. But because there are Venus there being a benefic planet, so is the sun. I mean, the sun's considered malefic in Vedic astrology, but it's also benefic because it brings divination. And Mercury brings the higher mind. So a lot of areas of life are going to get revamped. They're going to get a new agenda. The moon joins the sun tells the moon what we're going to work on. Then the moon's passing on this info as it makes conjunctions to those planets. So again, very cardinal, right? New beginnings, new beginnings, new beginnings. The ruler of this chart is Scorpio. So that happens to be Pluto and Mars. And Pluto's actually making a sign-based sextile, while Mars is making an inconjunct aspect to Scorpio from Gemini in the 8th house. So again, cutting things out is going to bring that deep transformation that is going to liberate you. The energy of Pluto is all about transforming and liberating. So it goes from like going down to the depths and then transforming itself and becoming a new person, becoming a new based on the experience that they just experienced. So again, write down those new moon intentions. I really feel it's a moon that's focused on health, but really health that's going to be more labeled as a lifestyle change versus a diet. So keep that in mind. And then we end the week on Saturday, the 24th, with the moon making those contacts to all the planets. It starts with a trine to Uranus at 12:01 a.m. Then it makes a conjunction to Venus and Capricorn at 4:16. At 11:07, at 11:32, it makes a conjunction to Mercury. And then at 11:42, it makes a sextile to Neptune. At 7:10, it makes a conjunction, 7:10 p.m., it makes a conjunction to Pluto. And on that same day, it makes a ingression to the sign of Aquarius at 11:13 p.m. PST. And this is the end of the mood of the week, which is very outside of the box thinking. So from Scorpio to Aquarius, we found a new way of thinking. We're inspired in some way. We have a plan at this point, and we're ready to execute it. And this is a plan that is incorporating fixed water and fixed air, which is what brings moisture into the atmosphere, and then from there drops onto the soil at a few, in the future. And it is getting ready to fertilize. So not at this stage, but it's the water in the droplets, the moisture in the air, then goes down, becomes ice. And when the ice melts, that's when it fertilizes. So that's what we're doing. We're setting these goals that are going to take some time for us to see them, but we are definitely going to see them once everything starts melting. And the crystal of the week is blue lace agate. The reason I chose this crystal is because we are having a lot of new beginnings, not just with the new moon and the Yuletide celebration, but also with the amount of cardinal energy. So many planets in cardinal Earth, Capricorn, and then the ingression of Jupiter to cardinal fire, Aries. So new beginnings, and whenever there's a lot of beginnings, we really need to calm ourselves. We need to be centered, to our heart center, to really feel from within what is it that we truly desire. What are the things that are going to make us feel fulfilled and happy? And blue lace agate brings that energy of calming the body, mind, and soul. It promotes compassionate communication, and it assists you with speaking from the heart. And it also ignites forgiveness, meaning you're more inspired to forgive and forget, which then is going to support your personal growth. You're going to see things from a different perspective. So wear this stone. It's going to bring a lot of joy, peace, and nurturing to you. It's also a stone that assists the skeletal system and provides a secure foundation. So it's really perfect for this Capricorn energy. And it's very calming and soothing. It's also very moist, it's a moist type of watery energy. So I think this is the perfect stone. Now, if you have a sapphire, this is another stone that you can use during this time, or a blue topaz is also really good for this energy. But thank you again for being here. I want to wish you happy holidays. Again, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, comment below, let me know what your plans are, and never stop wondering what's in your stars. I will see you all next week. Thank you so much. Happy holidays.